I'm Mark, and on my channel I talk about UK politics and Brexit from an outside view, although I do know the UK from the inside as well, so don't worry. The Labour government under Keir Starmer is looking for a direct line to Ursula von der Leyen. A summit is intended to bring about a rapprochement here. You know, reset is used to restart a computer system. The action is always associated with the hope that everything will work better afterwards. I know what I'm talking about. But it's often not that easy because old bugs continue to cause problems and they must first be fixed. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also know this and are expected to meet for the first time at the end of August or beginning of September for concrete talks about a reset, as London calls it, of the relations strained by Brexit. While his predecessor Rishi Sunak sought bilateral talks with individual EU governments, Starmer wants to try to improve relations again in direct negotiations with the EU leadership. And according to the Financial Times, London wants to establish a structural dialogue with regular meetings. It's already clear what the focus should be: security, trade, irregular migration and energy. And when it comes to security, the EU is also interested in strengthening cooperation. Initial signals from London indicate that the British government is even prepared to make advance payments here if the EU meets its needs on other issues in return. In trade and energy supply in particular, the situation has worsened for Great Britain after Brexit because the country indeed has left the single market for goods and energy. And this puts security of supply at risk due to new requirements and bureaucratic hurdles. In the case of irregular migration, London is also dependent on cooperation with the rest of Europe. In Brussels, however, one negotiating premise remains: there will be no cherry-picking for London. A country that leaves the EU cannot expect to be treated in the same way as a member state. However, the Financial Times quoted a senior EU representative as saying that there is currently goodwill on both sides. But at least now a few Brexit winners are actually emerging. Sales are rising gently at most French auctioneers, and even sharply at Christie's. And international collectors love to buy in France's capital now. As fragile as the economic environment is, as pronounced as the political instability, the half-year results of the auction houses in Paris are surprising in this context. Thanks to international buyers, the art market is one of the few economic sectors that has not been affected or only slightly affected by the crises. And Brexit helped here. Even though the French Auction Council will not announce the absolute figures until September, Arnaud Dubois, co-founder of Matisse, that's a young art investment company, says, "In times of crisis, the French art market is particularly resilient. Paris is benefiting from Brexit. Sales of art from Africa and Oceania, design, photography, drawings, bold masters, and luxury objects are now concentrated in Paris and New York. Applied art is also still valued there. The big interior designers have also been based in Paris." And as reported, Christie's recorded worldwide sales of $2.1 billion compared to $2.7 billion in the first half of 2023. But 38% of sales came from Europe and the Middle East. 9 of the 10 highest sales in France were made by Christie's. With sales of 203 million euros, Christie's is number one among the individual companies in Paris. And this is significantly better than in the same period last year when 114 million euros were reported. 2 years ago, Jean-Simeon Chardin's basket of wild strawberries was auctioned by competitor Art Curial for what was then a world record price of 24.3 million euros. In 2022, the Louvre exercised its right of first refusal. So it was no surprise that Christie's was now able to set a new record for Chardin's melon, still live from the Rothschild estate. Le Melon in Tomé was bought by a European private individual for 27 million euros, and it's the most expensive old master painting ever auctioned in Paris. I'm proud that it was a work by Chardin that topped the list this year. If you have a high quality piece, no matter what field it is from, it sells well. A high-quality old painting can even fetch a higher price than a contemporary one. That was explained by Cécile Verdier, General Director of Christie's France. Paris is the place where you often rediscover objects with an important history. Selling the Chardin in Paris also meant selling a story. Buying in Paris is not the same as buying in London or New York. It has a different color, a special taste, according to her. Christie's also achieved high results with the Crémieux, Renault and Barbier-Muller collections. The Geneva collection of top works of art from tribal societies was the best-selling collection, not only in France but worldwide in the first half of the year, with a total value of 73 million euros. An African fang hat sold for 14.8 million euros, another world record for a sculpture of this kind. Other million-dollar hammer prizes included a monkey by Lalanne and works by Dubuffet. Competitor Sotheby's auctioned off 7 important collections in the first half of the year. Sales totaled 133 million euros, slightly less than the 153 million euros in the previous year. And private sales added another 39 million euros. And the share of new customers was 20.6%. And Art Curial is in third place with the sales of 121 million. Followed by Bonhams. The English auction house recorded 74 million euros with 53 auctions spread across Paris, Brussels and Monaco. And in total there were $5 million auctions in the first half of the year. The Spielmann collection in Paris, for example, achieved 15.2 million euros with just 28 lots, including the 14th century Vajradhara statuette for 4 million and a bronze animal sculpture by Rembrandt Bugatti, the Trois Panthères Marchands, was passed on for 3.6 million euros. That's a world auction record. And so we see a lot is happening in Paris here, and that's why I brought that up. There were a lot of numbers about art, painting, arts, and whatever what was sold. It's a completely different topic than I ever had here, but I picked that one just to show a different one. I talked about art auctioning moving from London to Paris already very shortly after Brexit, or the biggest part of Brexit happened. But Brexit really helped Paris get through a lot of crises. We know what happened in the European election in France. We know what effect that also had on the economy. We know what happened on the general election then in France as well. And the fact that there will be no extremely stable government. Still, it will not be a right-wing government. But Le Pen didn't manage to do that, but it's not a stable situation. But with this, you see that Brexit is still helping to cope with a lot of problems countries in Europe would have. And I know that some Brexiteers will get started on Germany now once again, especially I talked about the numbers for last month's growth or not growth in the economy. But that is just housemate. With a government like ours, even some advantages through Brexit that brought some banking to Frankfurt, for example, cannot replace all the losses caused by our kind of we'd call it Eastern German or some Soviet type policies made in our economy ministry at the moment. What Habeck is doing there is not helping growth. Every professor for economics can tell you that this is not the way to handle things if you want growth. So the problems in Germany are homemade, and if anybody is doing better than Germany, it will definitely have nothing to do with Brexit. And especially, I talked about this as well, when we look at the other European countries and especially the other EU member states, they are doing much better than Germany. And here, once again, you can see that this is homemade. So Brexit did bring advantages to Ireland. We talked about this in several videos before. And today I wanted to show a little bit more about France, because France really in the in arts trade has benefited from Brexit, and of course also in the banking system, because Paris as a banking location has also gained because of Brexit, and in the whole financial market, we are not even at the end of Brexit. There are still transitional periods running, and next year we will talk about when those periods end, what then will be consequences of Brexit here. So the damages that have not happened to the City of London yet couldn't have happened yet, because the transition period ends next year. And then we talk Brexit again, especially on the financial market. But if you want to know more, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.